everybody, and welcome to Smith Party of Six. I'm Audriana Smith. It is awesome to have y'all here, and today I thought that it would be cool to give you guys like a little 9-month update on homeschooling our 2-year-old Arwyn. I started back in like August with her, and now it is the very beginning of May, so it's been about 9 months. She is going to be 3 soon, which is nuts. And so I thought that I would just go ahead and kind of update you guys on the journey and what she's learned so far in this 9 months, how it's been working out to homeschool a child who's so young. So a lot of you have seen that first video. It's still the most watched video on this channel. I hate it because I sounded ridiculous. Of Arwyn and I doing kind of our little homeschool routine. I will go ahead and throw that up in the eye on the side. I always get it wrong. Just in case you guys want to go back and see that. I will also put a link for the blog post about everything that we've used throughout the year down in the description box below. So basically our journey started because Arwyn kind of had this inclination. She wanted to learn. She loved watching Dave and Ava videos and like singing her letters and learning colors. And she just like had this like thirst for knowledge. And I had always wanted to homeschool anyways. The older 2 kids were in public school at the time. This is their last year now, and I'm so excited. Woohoo! But they were still in public school at the time, and so it was a way for me to do what I loved, but also what she already wanted. So we both had a need, and it just worked. It just worked out. So we started off in August with the JDA Toddler Learning Binder. I'm not like an affiliate or anything for that product. I just love it, so I always talk about it. I always mention it, just so everybody knows it is good. So I will go ahead and link that down below for you guys too. And that's what we started with. And really the beginning of the year focused on kind of more simple things and just getting down the routine of learning. So we still went ahead and did letters because she was interested in doing letters. And we did colors a lot. In that binder, there's a lot of like visual discrimination. So being able to tell which 2 things are the same and matching those up. But there's also some other like more simple activities in there, like matching up fruit and saying their names, and like different animals. And we would do the names of the animals and their sounds, and just cute little fun stuff like that. She also learned her days of the week like right off the bat at the beginning of the year. One day I just kind of made up a little song with the days of the week, and we started singing it every day, and she knew her days of the week within like a week's time. We also did seasons really early on because we've been doing our calendar since the beginning of the year, our Melissa and Doug calendar. I also featured that in the other video, and it's something that we use every single day, and it just again is getting down like that routine. Like when we do our calendar, she knows like that's the start of our school day. We do our days of the week on there. Now she is starting to be able to tell me more about the date. Like if I tell her the new month at the beginning of the month, then as we progress every day I'll say, do you remember what month it is? And she'll tell me May, or you know, whatever, and she'll tell me the season at that point too. And we count to figure out what date it is. So you know, yes, if yesterday was the 3rd, then let's count to figure out which day it is. 1, 2, 3, and then I wait and she'll say 4. Yeah, it's May the 4th, or whatever day it happens to be at the time. So that's something that's been really fun, and like I said, that we've been doing since the very beginning of the year. So at the beginning of the year, she could sing her ABCs and she could recognize some of her letters, but not all of them. Now she recognizes all of the letters and has the majority of their sounds as well. And the ones that she doesn't have the sound for is only because those are ones that we haven't gone over in our lessons in the Good and the Beautiful yet. So they're just ones that we haven't gotten to the sound of them. Like, you know, she may sing them in songs or something, but it's not something that we're like actually practicing it. So she's come a really long way. And not just that, but she's also able to trace her letters, which for a 2-year-old, like that wasn't something that I expected her to really be able to do. So first of all, like when we started out all of this stuff, I kind of like made a plan for how I'd kind of like things to go and like goals that I'd like to reach. And I thought that we would start the Good and the Beautiful pre-K when she turned 3, like after she was 3. Well, she's not 3 yet. She doesn't turn 3 until next month. And we started the Good and the Beautiful all the way back in January and are over halfway through it now. So she has just flown through all of it. We're actually going to be finishing up with the pre-K for her before the end of summer even. And then I'm going to do, I think, the K primer program with her just to be able to practice more. I would not want to do kindergarten with her yet. That would just be way too early. So I want to just kind of take our time and make sure that she's really ready before letting her go on to the more harder stuff. But I said all that to say, like, she has just completely blown past any of my expectations whatsoever. And one of the things in The Good and the Beautiful that is practiced a lot is tracing and handwriting. You know, it's like I hadn't even planned on her being able to do this whatsoever yet. Those first couple lessons, it was kind of difficult for her just to understand what she was doing, but we had done a lot of lead up to that point as well. So we practice fine motor skills a lot, whether it's just, you know, sorting things into bowls, or even with that toddler binder, you know, it comes with little like cutouts for you to use. And so they're constantly picking up with their little fingers and putting it where it needs to go, which is practicing fine motor stuff. And I'll put a link. I made a post recently about 70 different fine motor activities that you can do with your little one to improve their coordination and their hand strength. And so I will put a link for that down below. And so we were practicing fine motor activities pretty much every day. And then we also do wipe clean books a lot, which I've mentioned before too. And so that was good practice for her, and like, you know, without wasting paper or whatever. And it was fun for her too that she could use a dry erase marker. She'd always say Mr. Marker and have me, you know, take his hat off, which was actually his lid, but you know, anything that was like a little fun game. So she would do the wipe clean books a lot too. And so that was extra practice before the real tracing came. Early on with the wipe clean books, it was more like her just coloring and kind of like getting the feel of it. And then I would start to point out the lines more and say, you know, do you think you could stay on that line? A lot of times she would like color inside of it or something. But just like little ways to practice like that. So like I was saying, those early lessons of The Good and the Beautiful, you can definitely tell that she's come such a long way, even just from January to now, because it was kind of hard for her to do. And then, you know, I showed her pencil grip and we kind of worked on it, which she picked that up super quickly too. But now she's able to trace it without my help whatsoever. So in the beginning, like, I would guide her hand for the first letter and then let her practice the other ones on her own. Now, for the most part, other than like M and N, the two capitals have been like kind of hard, and probably W when we get there too. Ones that do a lot of zigging and zagging. But other than that, she's able to do all of it on her own. So that was a skill that she definitely wasn't even close to at the beginning of the year, but now she's mastered pretty much being able to trace and do it well. I mean, some stuff is a little bit sloppy, but for a 2-year-old, it's pretty darn amazing. Another thing is that she's able to count much higher now. We count together all the time, so she's able to do that better. She recognizes her numbers 1 through 10, although sometimes she kind of messes up with 9, but for the most part, she recognizes numbers 1 through 10. And we've also been working a lot on one-to-one correspondence. So, you know, not double counting or skipping over things, but realizing that one thing is one, like one-to-one correspondence. And I posted a video before that I just kind of like had made up that day the way that I was going to teach her to do this, and it's been working really, really well. And I actually made a printable now that goes with it, just so it's a little bit prettier than just a couple circles written on a piece of paper. But I will link that video down below, and also the blog post with the printable if you want to be able to teach that with your child as well. So usually she gets up to about 7 now, counting on her own when she's counting objects, before it kind of starts to go haywire and she's just like, I'm done with this, and just starts skipping and counting all over the place. So usually 7 with counting objects, but with just straight counting, she can go up to 30. So I've been really impressed with that as well. The other thing is her shape recognition, which that came kind of earlier on in the year too, not right at the beginning though, just because that wasn't my main focus. But there are so many shapes in that toddler learning binder, and she has almost all of them. So the only ones that she gets kind of confused with are hexagon and octagon. But other than that, she's got all of her shapes, which is very cool. So even though this year isn't fully over yet, I would definitely say that this first year for her has been a huge success. and it's made it to where the foundations are already laid when she's very, very young, to where it's not going to be a problem as she gets older for us to just keep kind of building on those, which is why, like I said, I just kind of want to take my time and, you know, really take her through the K primer and make sure that she really has it down before we go on to kindergarten stuff. I do not want to throw her into it too early. I really just want to take this time to continue building her skills and make sure that she has it solidified. Of course, if I feel that she's ready as the year progresses and we're getting more towards the end of next year, then we might go ahead and start kindergarten probably when she's 4. Maybe a little bit before, just depending on how she's doing. She always surprises me, so I feel like she's gonna end up like just completely blowing it out of the water. But I don't want to rush her with it if it's not something that she's ready for. But for anybody who is thinking about homeschooling with your 2-year-old, even if it's just simple activities, like you don't even have to do as much as what we did. I just kind of went ahead and jumped on in. But even if it's just simple stuff, I definitely think that there's huge value in it, and you are laying those foundations for your little one early to be able to pick up on learning stuff even easier. It's only going to go ahead and give them that head start on their school career and really instilling a love of learning too, because, you know, we try to make as much things into like a game as we possibly can and make it as fun as we possibly can. But I think that that is all that I had for you guys today. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and hit that bell notification, and I will catch y'all next time. Bye.